Hi, I'm Colin Dunn. You know, years ago, there was a television commercial by an investment firm called E.F. Hutton. The scene was a crowded restaurant, everybody talking, a lot of noise. One person leans over to another person and says, well, what E.F. Hutton says is, and at that moment, everybody is quiet. Everybody is listening carefully to the investment advice from E.F. Hutton. The mantra for the commercial was this: when E.F. Hutton talks, everybody listens. How would you like to have that kind of situation at work? When you come up with a good idea, everybody's quiet, and they all are listening carefully to it because they know it's valuable. If that's the kind of place you'd like to be in your professional life, you're watching the right training video, because this video is about selling yourself and your ideas. To whom do you sell yourself and your ideas? Well, you sell it to your boss, you sell yourself and your ideas to your colleagues and to your stakeholders. How do you do that? How do you do that? Well, you do that using proven sales principles, and that's what we're going to anchor this training video on. 3 proven sales principles. What are they? The personal picture you present, the preparation you do before you make the sales pitch, and the sales pitch itself. First, let's talk about the personal picture. Why are we worried about the personal picture you present? What's that got to do with it? Well, it's got everything to do with it. For people to buy into your ideas, they first have to buy into you. How do you present yourself in such a way to be a more compelling force, personal force, so that people will buy into you? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about generating presence on your team, in your organization. Generating a presence that's positive, that's compelling, because those are the kind of people you buy into. How do you do that? How do you present a positive, compelling presence? Well, the first tip I have for you is to smile more often than you do. You've been down the hallway and seen the expressions on most people's faces, a dour expression or the poker face, no emotion shown at all. When someone smiles, the message to that other person is you're significant. And by making other people feel significant, they in turn see your presence as more positive. It's said that a smile is the shortest distance between two people. Try it. Use them. The second tip I have for you is this one. Learn people's names and use them. Dale Carnegie wrote a book called Winning Friends and Influencing People. And in that book, he said this: the sweetest sound anyone can hear in the language is the sound of their own name. When you say somebody's name, you're making them feel important just a little bit. In fact, maybe you can identify with this experience. Let's say you met somebody just a couple of times, a senior person. And that person sees you the third time and remembers your name. Doesn't that make you feel important? Doesn't the stature of that senior person rise a little bit in your eyes? Don't you feel more positive about that person? Of course you do. It's a simple thing to do. Now, I'm often asked, well, Colin, what do I do if I've forgotten somebody's name? Well, the easy answer to that is just ask them. They'll appreciate it. Ask them to remind you what their name is. It'll be just fine. The thing I want you to remember also about this is part of your presence is your attitude. It's part of who you are. It's how people think of you. And what the attitude that you want to have is a very positive attitude, and an attitude that's an uplifting attitude as opposed to an attitude that drags people down. You've seen people in the workplace who come in who make it a point to notice other people and compliment them, who make it a point to encourage others. That's a demonstration, an outward demonstration of a positive, uplifting attitude as opposed to a more dragging attitude or even toxic attitude of complaining and criticizing people. You want to be more like a balloon than a ball and chain to those around you. So have that uplifting attitude. It will improve your personal presence significantly. Now, here's a suggestion for you. Take a poll. Go ask some people who know you well, some trusted comrades. Ask them, hey, am I more of a balloon? Am I an uplifter? Is my attitude on most days kind of a drag? If the answer is, oh, you're an uplifter, you've got a positive attitude, you're fun to be around, I look forward to being around you because of your attitude, then you're good. But if the person you ask doesn't answer right away and thinks for a few seconds, maybe you're becoming a drag to people. Maybe you've got something to work on. In the world of Winnie the Pooh, be more like Tigger and less like Eeyore. The next point I want to make is build a good track record. For you to sell yourself or sell others, you have to understand when people see you, they don't just see the physical you. At meetings or in the hallway or in your workplace around your team, they see more than who the physical person is. They see a kind of an aura about you that equates to your track record. Are your reports on time? Are they accurate? Do you work a little late to get the right thing done on time occasionally? Are you on time at meetings? And as we all know, in the business world, on time is 10 minutes early. You have to become that kind of person people think of on the team as the performance star. Be a performance star, and then your aura around you will be bright and shiny as opposed to maybe tarnished and dull. But as you do that, as you build that good track record, remember that you're not just doing it for yourself. It's not all about you. Win like Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar, famous motivational speaker and the most famous salesperson in the world. Fortunately, he passed away a few years ago. But what he said that was really key here is this. You can get everything you want in life if you just help enough other people get what they want. In other words, be that person at work that's not just concerned about your own area, but be that person that sees a colleague struggling on a project and offers to help them without being asked. Be that person that takes the initiative to do something on the team nobody really wants to do. In other words, be a star performer, build that kind of track record, but be selfless and a consummate team player at the same time. If you do that, you'll build yourself a picture of yourself that will be compelling, that people will want to buy into. The next phase is preparation. Why do we want to prepare? Why do we want to spend time preparing? Well, we want to spend time to prepare because if we don't, we'll overlook a central component, that preparation prevents issues, prevents problems. A colleague of mine years ago was in an auditorium listening to the President of the United States. At the back of the auditorium was the President's spokesperson. Well, my colleague couldn't resent. He went up to the President's spokesperson in the back of the auditorium and said, I've watched you on TV give the press briefings. You sell the President's ideas every day. You sell the administration's policies, and you do it when there are some reporters in the room who don't agree with those policies. And you do a pretty good job of it. What's your secret? The presidential spokesperson answered 3 words: preparation, preparation, preparation. You've got to prepare to sell an idea effectively. What does that mean for you? It might mean doing the research about the idea. Let's say you have an idea and you think it's a great idea. One of the first things you ought to do is ask around and find out whether or not this same idea has been surfaced before, maybe years before you got to the organization. If so, and if it didn't take root, what caused it to fail? Maybe the conditions in the organization or the environment have changed, and this time it'll work if you change it just a little bit. Also, ask around to see if there's other agencies who have done the same idea or other sister organizations. If you can find some other organization that has implemented the idea you've come up with And if by chance they've got some metrics, some data to prove the success or effectiveness of that idea, can't you see how that would help you sell your idea? In fact, there's a saying in sales that goes like this: "In God we trust, all others bring data." Use data to make your sales stick. The other thing you need to research about is, what is it that your boss or the decision maker who's going to approve the idea, what is it they are interested in? What's important to them? Find out what's important to them, and then you can connect your idea in some ways to what's important to them. So do the research before you pitch. Now, after you've done the research, go about creating some coalitions. Bounce your idea off of people in your area. See which one of the people in your area will support your idea, think it's a good idea. Maybe you'll get some good advice about the idea and how to shape it or change it to make it more saleable. You know, your support for your idea will go along a spectrum. At one end of the spectrum, you'll have your cheerleaders, the people who think it's a great idea and will want to help you sell it. At the other end of the spectrum of support is the person who says, "Well, I don't think it's a great idea, but if it gets approved, I won't sabotage it." Focus on the people at this end of the spectrum. Get their testimony, get their support. If you're smart, what you can do is this. Find the one or two people at this end of the spectrum who have the greatest influence, the greatest credibility in the minds of the decision makers. Choose their testimony as a premium testimony to use when you sell the idea. So create your coalitions to move the idea forward. Then connect to the vision or the objectives. One time I found myself in charge as a director of a large organization. Our mission was to deliver accurate and high quality and timely products to our customers. One day I came into work and there on my desk was a proposal from the IT chief. The proposal essentially said we need to move money from operations to the IT account so we can improve our IT backbone and our computer services. I couldn't wait to find the IT chief. I said, "Are you kidding me? We're going to take money away from operations, most of which serves customers, and put it into IT?" He said, "Yes, boss. And if we do that, if we do improve that IT backbone, I can prove to you that we will be able to deliver our product, the products our customers want, to them 30% faster." I looked at him and I had one word: sold. He sold that idea to me because he connected it with our overall organizational objective. Finally, in your preparation phase, practice. Practice. Don't go in and give your pitch cold. Take time to rehearse it. The saying is what? Practice makes perfect? Well, not really. We're all humans. But does practice make better? Yes, it does make better. So practice your pitch before you deliver it. And that takes us to the pitch itself. First thing I want to talk about with the pitch is deliver strong. Perfect example of this is Martin Luther King's presentation of ideas in August of 1963 at the National Mall. 250,000 people gathered there, but he was really talking to all of America. And he was presenting ideas about justice and equality. A lot of people bought the ideas based on the common sense, but part of it, and the logic. But also some people bought into it because why? Because King was passionate about it. His energy, his enthusiasm, his passion for those ideas were palpable as he delivered that speech. The thing is, I'll be honest with you, I can't turn you all into a bunch of Baptist ministers. But can you pitch your idea with just a little more energy and a little more passion than you currently have for most things? If you do, that's absolutely key. Why? Because it's contagious. If you're sincerely passionate, sincerely energetic about your pitch, some of that passion is going to carry over to the decision maker and to other people in the room. Let me give you a practical way of thinking about this. It's what I call the 3 P's of presentation skills. I know it's more P's. I got a thing with P's. I teach this technique, and my participants in the workshops have come back to me later and told me that it was one of the best things they learned. So I'm going to share them with you. The first P is in a formal setting when you're going to deliver a presentation to sell an idea. The first P is plant your feet. Before you begin talking, step up to where you're going to make the delivery and plant your feet to the ground. Actually kind of feel like you're growing roots to the ground, being rooted to the ground. What's your body language saying? It's saying, I'm standing on solid ground as I make this pitch to you. I know what I'm doing, and this is a rock of an idea. Now, after you begin speaking later on, you can move around some, but at the start of the speech, plant your feet to the ground. The second P is pause. What do I mean by that? After you planted your feet to the ground, before you say a word, pause for 3 to 5 seconds. And in that 3 to 5 seconds, gain the eye contact of everybody in the room, to include the decision maker. Why do you do that? Well, as Shakespeare said, the eyes are the windows to the soul. You got it. You got it. And what you're doing when you gain that eye contact is you're making soulmates out of everybody in the room. You want them to buy your idea even down into their soul. So start off by gaining that eye contact for 3 to 5 seconds. The last P is project. Project your first words. In other words, start talking. When you first start talking, say the first words a little louder than you normally speak. Say it with more energy than you normally speak. Say those words with more passion than you normally have. Why do you do that? What you're doing by projecting those first words is you're telling the message you're sending everybody is, I'm excited about this. This is a great idea. I have great confidence in this idea, and you will too after you hear it. All those messages come out with that first projected words that you say. Now, of course, after you make that first projected words, you can go back to your normal volume. Of course, you want to vary your voice as you speak and you present. We know all about that. So remember, in a formal setting, start the presentation off by planting, pausing and gaining eye contact for 3 to 5 seconds, and then projecting those first words. That's a practical application of delivering strong. The other thing I want to talk about is how quickly you get to the point. I want you to follow this acronym. BLUF, bottom line up front. What do I mean by that? I mean, start the presentation in a way that you're getting right to the point. Say something like, as we all know, the issue we're facing is, and then describe the issue, or the problem we're dealing with is, and describe the problem, and then in your next sentence, explain how your idea is going to positively address that issue, positively address the solution to that problem. Get right to the point. The next thing about your pitch I want to talk about is tuning in to the decision maker's radio station, WIIFM, otherwise known as What's in It for Me? What's in it for me? How do you do that? Well, first you have to know what they're interested in. And you remember a couple slides previous, we talked about as part of your research to find out what the decision maker is interested in. And once you find out what the decision maker is interested in, what's important to them, state that and then connect your idea to that to that interest in some way. This phrase here is used by a pharmaceutical company that has the most sales of any pharmaceutical company in the world. The salesperson starts every conversation with a sales prospect with this sentence or sentence like that. Let me give you an example. The salesperson would come up to say, Dr. Dunn, the chief physician of Hospital X, or Dr. Dunn, the hospital administrator, and say this, Dr. Dunn, I know it's important to you that you reduce the number of malpractice lawsuits that happen as a result of activity in your outpatient surgical wing. What's said next? What's said next is, well, Dr. Dunn, we have a surgical device here which we believe can help you make that happen. You see how I did that? I found out what Dr. Dunn was interested in, and I tied into that interest by providing a solution in what I'm selling. You can do the same thing with your ideas. Use it. It's a proven technique. Finally, accept rejection with grace and aplomb. You know, you can prepare yourself with a powerful personal picture and do a great job with a great track record. You can prepare to make the sale of your idea by doing all the right research and asking the people if the idea has been done in other places and getting smarter on the idea and garnering support. You can do all of that and still end up being rejected at the end of the day, even with a powerful pitch. Remember two things when you do get rejected, if it happens to you. First is, you are not getting rejected. Your idea is being rejected. Your idea is not being bought, not you. Secondly, if you accept that rejection of your idea with grace and aplomb, what you've just done is you've enhanced your own personal picture. You made yourself a more compelling personality by rejecting it gracefully. And you'll set yourself up to succeed the next time you try to sell something. So, those are the 3 P's of sales. Create that powerful personal picture by smiling, learning people's names, having a good attitude, creating a good track record, yet at the same time being a consummate team player. Prepare thoroughly before you go into pitch. Find out from other agencies who's used your idea. Get some data if you can. Form a coalition. Practice that pitch. And then deliver that pitch powerfully with a little more energy and a little more passion than you pitched anything else. Connect what it is you're selling with the boss's interest, and you'll have a better chance of being successful. Well, those are the 3 P's of sales. Before I leave you, though, can I give you a couple of references to go back to? The first one, Dale Carnegie's book on how to win friends and influence people. This book has sold more than 30 million copies. This book was named just a few years ago by Time magazine as one of the 100 most influential books in the world. It's a must-read. You got to get it and read it because it'll tell you a lot about influencing people in other ways besides selling them ideas. This other book is not really a book. It's a pamphlet produced by the Center for Creative Leadership. It's a Cliff Notes version of what we've talked about today. It's only 18 or 20 pages long, but it is a good read, and it summarizes a lot of what we've talked about. Well, that's it for the 3 P's of sales. I hope during this video I've been able to sell you on the techniques and the ways in which you can sell yourself and sell your ideas a little better. In the future, I wish you all happy selling. Thanks for watching.